Hi friends, today we're going to be making some alphabet soup. The first thing that you would do to make a bowl for your alphabet soup, if you don't already have a round paper, is to take a paper plate or any kind of round plate that you might have, or round object, and trace around the outer edge. This one fits perfectly along the sides of my paper because this is a 9-inch plate and my paper is 9 inches wide. So I'm going to move this off of here and you can see the outer circle. I have a smaller plate, and that smaller plate I'm going to put on the inside here. I'm just going to hold it down and I'm going to make a little ridge inside of here. And then I would take my scissors and I would cut out the outer circle, just the outside one, not the inside. However, I do have a circle that's already been cut out. If you have one of these papers, if Miss Rubin has a paper like this for you, then you would just use this. You're going to take the smaller plate, you're going to hold it down, and you're going to take your pencil and you're just going to trace around that. You want to make sure it's centered. You don't want it to be over here or over here. So this is going to look like the outer edge of our bowl, and then this will be the inside where we put our soup. I'm going to go back over that again because I feel like it's kind of light for the camera. See if I can press down a little bit harder. Okay. All right, so now this will be the area that I work in for my alphabet soup. All right, so now I'm going to use some oil pastels. So when you first open up oil pastels, they look bright, brand new like this. But oil pastels, after we use them for a while, they don't look quite as nice. But I like to use up my old oil pastels before I start using my newer ones because all the colors are still just as awesome. If I need a sharper point, I might use one of those. But today you're going to have a little alphabet chart. So alphabet soup is made up of letters of the alphabet. And what we're going to do is just fill up our soup bowl with all the different letters of the alphabet, and then we're going to make some broth, kind of like chicken noodle soup or alphabet soup, or sometimes you might get like chicken stars or Anna and Elsa frozen soup or Paw Patrol soup. So I'm going to start out with my alphabet soup. I'm going to start out with the first letter. You can start with the letter Z or the letter A, but I want you to start at the beginning or the end and then work your way back. So alphabet soup, all the letters aren't going to lay flat and lay in perfect order like you see right here. So you're going to need to turn your paper. You're going to need to make your paper look like the alphabet soup's just been kind of mumbo jumboed in there. It's not going to be perfect. So the letters are going to be turned different ways. So I'm going to make my first letter. I made my letter A. And you may have a chance to add more letters at the end. We'll see how full our soup looks. So I'm just going to put a little mark in that one. All right, I'm going to do the letter B. Then I'm just going to keep going. C. And you notice I keep turning my paper and twisting my paper. Oh, I like that hot pink. D. And my soup broth is going to be yellow, so I'm not going to use any yellow today because I want my letters to stand out. H. All right, I did B, C, D, E, F, G, H. All right, about to do I. Switch colors again. J. K, L. All right, I like this lime green. M, okay, N. O is a pretty easy one. O. P and Q. P and Q are the exact opposite of each other. The D's and the P's and the Q's kind of look the same. Also, this Q has a straight line on it, but a Q can also look like this with a curvy line on the end. So that's definitely how you can tell it's a Q. Oh, I don't have any purple. All right, R, S, T. I really like this pink. U, V, W. I better stop with that pink, although I do love it. I only have one red. Let me do a red. X, Y, Z. Oh, that's kind of cool. All right, so I have a couple of spots where I think I want to add a couple of letters. I really like the letter A. I'm going to put a letter A right here. And then, let's see, I'm going to do another Z. Z's are fun. They're like little mini zigzag lines. And maybe a letter L. All right, I really like that. All right, so I'm done with my oil pastels. I'm checking and I did every single letter on there. I'm gonna take Miss Paintbrush and I'm gonna swishy, swishy, wipe, wipe. I don't wanna get all this water off my brush because I wanna use this water to make my paint get wet. But I'm also not gonna flop my paintbrush over like this and do a woodpecker. I don't want to sound like a woodpecker, and I don't want to splatter water or paint onto other friends' papers. So I'm going to swishy, swishy, wipe, wipe. Swishy, swishy, wipe, wipe. And then I'm going to tickle my watercolor paint over here. It's just like a little yellowish color. And then I'm going to paint right over what I've got on my paper. I need plenty of water in my brush. I'm going to get some more water. And because oil pastels are made of oil pastels, they're made of oil. Because they are oil pastels, they're made out of oil. The oil resists the water. If you were to put some olive oil or some vegetable oil in a cup of water or in a bottle with some water and shake it up, the oil and the water will not mix. So the oil in this oil pastel repels the paint, and the paint won't cover it up. The paint just kind of goes around it, and it makes it look like our alphabet soup letters are floating in our broth. So now we have our bowl, and we have our alphabet, we have our soup broth. When these dry, we're going to be adding them to another artwork that we are working on, and it will look like we have a whole little lunch set up. Some of my little oil pastel crumbs are getting mixed in with my paint. I didn't knock them off first, and that's okay. I can always just brush those off after this paint dries. Or if it does dry in here and I can't get these little crumbles off, I think it kind of looks like a little bit of salt or pepper or seasoning, which also makes soup taste pretty yummy. Notice I'm staying in that line because I want this to look like the side of my bowl. And then another thing I would like to do is take my name, or take my pencil and write my name neatly on the side of my bowl so that everybody knows which artwork is mine. Now this, I will hold it flat so the paint doesn't run, and I will take it over to the drying rack. Happy painting, friends.